300 milligrams DXM, 25 milligram DMT, and cannabis. A crazy night. Hey, what's up guys, it's 990, and today I'm bringing you a trip report on DXM, DMT, and cannabis. Date, 2016. Gender, male. Weight, 79 kilos or 174 pounds. Age, 18. Report. Holy smokes, was this a crazy night? Let's get into it. I started out by picking up 2 bottles of CVS Tussin, about 300 milligrams of DXM per bottle. As I was walking out of the store, a guy starts yelling at me and insisting on me giving him a ride to his car. I tell him no, but he's very persistent and feeds me a story about his kids being stuck at daycare. I drive him a couple miles to the drop-off, and he starts demanding I give him money. I only had $7 and I told him no over and over again, but this fucker was persistent. I finally gave him the money just to get him the hell out of my car. He said that he would call me the next day, but I had great doubts. I never got a call. After this, I headed over to pick up a friend of mine named Lewis from his college dorm. We headed back to my place, and it turns out it was Lewis's birthday. I said I had kush, and it was on the house today. We sparked up a joint and got decently stoned. And then we began to surf the web and read about drugs. After an hour or so, I rolled up another one and we smoked it. Then, the DXM began tempting us. I only had taken DXM once before, and that was about a year ago. Lewis had never taken it, so we decided to pop some capsules. He took the entire container, 300 milligrams. From there, we decided that we would Uber to a friend of mine. I brought the DXM along and planned to take the rest of it. As the night went on, our Uber driver was barely literate in English and his GPS was taking us all over the city. Finally, Lewis used the GPS on his phone to get us to our destination, and at this point, we both started feeling the DXM quite nicely. Our friend Slater met us at the door with one of his roommates who was going out to buy alcohol. We chatted for a minute and then he headed upstairs to Slater's room. Side note, this will be important later. I had recently lost my wallet and only brought $5 along with me and a half-empty bottle of DXM capsules. The three of us chatted for a bit, catching up on stories and what had been going on in each other's lives. I took the rest of the DXM, finishing the entire bottle around 2:30 a.m. At one point, Slater mentioned that a couple of his roommates had DMT. I was impressed, caught off guard, and yet still somewhat skeptical. It wasn't until his roommate Alex came up, who had just candy flipped, and told us a little bit about it. I'd known about DMT since I was about a senior in high school, and always had a curiosity burning inside me. And, of course, respectful caution surrounding it. I really didn't think I would come into contact with the spirit molecule, at least not this early. Alex acknowledged our curiosity and headed back downstairs. Shortly after, he came up with a kind-looking man with wide eyes and dilated pupils. Brennan. You guys want to hit a DMT? Was I actually just offered DMT? Yes please, I say, voice sounding like that of an excited yet scared child. Alright, he says slowly, that's gonna take a little while. Holy shit, this is actually happening. I'm about to smoke DMT. Why tonight? Are these the right circumstances? I'm already tripping on DXM, should I actually smoke DMT? Some say one of the best tips for psychedelic drugs is, don't seek them out, let them come to you. Waiting for what seemed like an hour, he returned upstairs with a small glass pipe with some crystals in the bulb at the end of it. There it was, DMT. No funny business with sprinkling it in a weed bowl or making some weird contraptions. The perfect pipe, blowtorch, and everything to heat it evenly. Oh my god, there it is. I became very anxious. I started to shake a little, and my heartbeat increased. I couldn't believe it was there in front of me and I was about to take it. Brennan was not charging ridiculous prices for DMT at all. $5 a hit, he said. Oh wow, perfect. I have exactly $5 in my pocket. This reaffirmed my idea that I was meant to smoke DMT tonight. 1 hit and nothing more. Nothing more or nothing less. This is an experience that I needed to have. Brennan and Alex were 2 very helpful and calming people. I had so many questions for these experienced DMT users. What the experience would be like, how to prepare, and a number of other questions that I was frantically spitting out. I was nervous, and it was apparent. At one point, Alex said, "You seem weary." I said I was, and that I was very nervous going into the experience. Then they gently counseled me, "Just let it flow. Don't have any expectations." These words of wisdom helped me. Though my heart was beating rapidly, I couldn't imagine any two other people guiding me through my first DMT experience. The time came to spark the DMT, and Lewis elected to go first. The room became quiet. Even in large social settings such as this, it was accepted that it must be silent when consuming DMT. Everyone's eyes were on Noah. He held the pipe, and Brennan held the blowtorch close. Lewis inhaled multiple times, getting a small trail of vapor on each inhale. He took quite a few hits. This was the first time I had ever seen anyone smoking DMT impersonating. It was fascinating. Shortly after, Brennan moved the pipe over to me. "Are you ready?" he asked. I muttered out something, and he pulled it back. "You're not ready." Inside, I felt that the nervousness had been dialed back a small amount. However, it was not completely eliminated. I didn't want to chicken out either. "No, I'm ready. I held the pipe about an inch away from my lips while he heated it. "When do I inhale?" I asked quietly. "When you..." I let out a very light sigh and saw a small trail of smoke appear in the freebase pipe. Time to inhale. I sealed my lips around the pipe and inhaled. The pipe filled with milky smoke. And after inhaling for 5 seconds, I moved the pipe away from my lips and held it. The smoke wasn't too harsh. However, immediately after exhaling, I positioned myself so I could lay on the ground. Right as my head hit the ground, I felt the amazing spirit molecule surge through my physical and emotional vessel. The room became vibrantly colored and appeared to almost pop out at me. I had visuals similar to this on a dose of LSD, however, never this strong or this quickly. There was a sublime poster above me that said, "Just let the lovin' take hold." This poster's colors all appeared incredibly vibrant, and I felt the sheer intensity of this experience. At one point, Lewis burst out into laughter, which began to overwhelm me. I sat up and began to frantically ask, "How long will this last?" Everyone said 5 minutes, and that gave me a sense. There was the roommate I had just met at the door, and I was looking around the room for him. I made eye contact with him upstairs, and he said, "Just relax, take it easy, just relax." And this gave me a sense of security and peace. I peered around the room. I loved the visual effects this was bringing on, and kept saying, "I can't believe this is DMT." I said it was as if $1 million had been lifted off of my shoulders. I was no longer shaken or breathing fast. The anxiety and tightness in my chest dissipated. Then I suddenly realized that I was in love. I texted my partner, "I'm in love. I'm in love. Oh, how many heart flutters, I'm in love." I couldn't believe it. I felt my voice became softer and slower, and I again said aloud how great I felt. Alex and Brennan were curious about what I had gotten out of this experience. I had in no way nailed down any thoughts about this experience. My words just flowed. I told them I was so incredibly anxious and worried, and these worries had been completely eliminated and replaced with a profound love. They smiled and talked about how much joy it brought to them to see people undergoing this experience. I had been having serious doubts about my relationship over the course of a few months that I've been having with my partner. I had an odd ball of anxiety inside me that I couldn't seem to get rid of, and had doubts that didn't deserve attention. An indefinable anxiousness. After this DMT experience, that anxiety appears to be completely gone. That tightness in my chest and that constant push to be doing the right thing was eliminated. I felt amazing after smoking DMT. I asked Brendan for more, however he said I would have to wait to take more. I figured I had an amazing experience and would save future steps in the world of DMT for later on. At around 3:30, the Uber pulled up to Slater's house, and the three of us, Lewis, Slater, and me, all hopped in and drove back to my house. From there, we began one of the biggest smoke downs I've had in a long time. They each took some edibles, and then we packed bowl after bowl of weed and keef in my vaporizer solo. After about 4 or 5 vape bowls and a joint to top it all off, the clock hit 6:30, and I was on the brink of passing out. I struggled my way up the stairs to my room and landed in my bed. I slept in until about 1:30, woke up feeling pretty good. I was maybe a tad slower today, however, overall, I didn't feel too much after effects of that large amount of cannabis and DXM. I actually felt pretty good the following day. Maybe a little high, but overall positive.
Sandalye, gang.